Step 1. The why is more important than the how. As you will learn throughout this program, it is always more important to know why to do something than it is to know how to do it. Oftentimes, the how is laborious, tedious, or even frustrating. If there's not a compelling enough reason why, then you're not likely to persevere through the how. So before we go through the labor of designing your best year ever, let me start off by explaining why you should set goals in the first place. When I attended the funeral of another mentor of mine, Paul J. Meyer, I was reminded how full, rich, and diverse a life he led. He achieved, experienced, and contributed more in one lifetime than the lives of 20 achievers combined. Reading his obituary made me reassess the speed, quantity, and sheer size of the goals that I wanted to set for myself. If Paul were here today, he would tell you the reason for the quality and quantity of his successes came down to one skill: setting, sticking to, and staying committed to big goals. In fact, he wrote one of the first programs on the topic called The Dynamics of Personal Goal Setting. A couple of the ideas that I will pass on to you in this program come from my studies and practices of that program. So, why should you set goals? Well, it's one of the two common traits of superachievers. I am often asked what common traits I observe as I interview and get to know many of today's superachievers. Are you interested in the answer? My answer is quick because there are two commonalities shared by nearly 100% of top achievers. Those two strategies used by almost all great achievers are: 1. A relentless commitment to constant and continual learning. 2. Clearly written goals with their plans laid out to achieve them. It has been said that a life without a plan is an insane life. Certainly, traveling throughout life without a destination in mind and a plan to get there is a recipe for disaster, no doubt. The time to get a map is before you go walking in the woods. So here's a question for you. If you knew that devoting a couple of hours of time could multiply the results in your life by 10 times over all your peers, competitors, family members, and neighbors, 10 times more than what you are likely to achieve without defining your goals on paper, would you do it? Would it be worth it? Easy answer, isn't it? But it's easier said than done. Let me outline a couple of compelling advantages that having clearly designed goals gives you. Number 1, the killer advantage of speed. No matter your background, education, or current level of success, if you master the skills and processes that I will take you through, you can instantly gain an advantage over everyone else around you. You can start to access more of the grand potential within yourself and achieve only in a few months or a year what it might take others their entire lifetime to accomplish. You can achieve vastly more in a shorter period than you ever imagined. The speed will amaze both you and the people around you. I have seen many people with average intelligence run circles around those supposed geniuses. The one who learns the skill of effective goal achieving can go on to become far more wealthy, successful, and happy than many geniuses who don't even know what they really want. A genius will still get lost in a foreign country without a map. Even a numbskull will arrive at the destination faster if they can follow a map. The key point: have a map of where you want to go. As I said, learning to set goals is the master skill of success. Without goals, your life is like a boat without a rudder. You drift along with the current, inevitably crashing up on the rocks time and time again. Proper goal setting puts you in a speedboat and gives you a target to steer towards. You will go directly to your destination and arrive with great speed. Are you starting to see the advantages of having clearly plotted goals tied to your ambitions? Let me take you to number 2. Number 2, discovering your indomitable inner power. Have you tried before and failed? After your initial excitement to make a change, grow, and go for it, have you found it difficult to stay motivated long enough to see your goal through? Not to worry, this time can be different. This time, I will help you find your unconquerable inner power, drive, and unrelenting passion. No, it's not your greater willpower, it's your why power. the kind of power that will drive you to move mountains, swim oceans, and walk through fire to accomplish your goals. Let me pull an excerpt from my book, The Compound Effect, to make this clear. If I were to put a 10-inch wide, 30-foot long plank on the ground and say, hey, if you walk the length of this plank, I'll give you $20. Would you do it? Of course, it's an easy $20. But what if I took that same plank and made a rooftop bridge between two 100-story buildings? And then I offered you the same $20 for walking across that sky-high plank. Would you do it now? You'd probably look at me and say, no way. However, what if your child was on the opposite building and that building was on fire and the flames were licking at their neck? If you didn't go across, they would certainly perish and die. Would you walk across the plank to save him or her? Likely your answer would be absolutely and immediately, $20 or not. Now, why is it that the first time I asked you to walk across that sky-high plank, you said, no way, yet the second time, you wouldn't even hesitate? The risks and the dangers were the same. What changed? Your why changed, your reason for wanting to do it. You see, when the reason is big enough, you will be willing to perform almost any how. Here's a story to help illustrate this. In the Andes Mountains, there were two warring tribes that not so peacefully coexisted, one that lived in the lowlands and the other high in the mountains. One day, the mountain people invaded the lowlanders, plundering and kidnapping a baby from the village. They vanished with the child and took her back up into the mountains. The lowlanders, pushed to action at the disappearance of one of their own, didn't know how to climb the mountain. They didn't know any of the trails that the mountain people used, and they didn't know where to find the mountain people or how to track them in the steep terrain. Even so, they sent their best party of fighting men to climb the mountain and bring the baby home. The men first tried one method of climbing and then another. They tried one trail and then another. After several days of effort, however, they had climbed only a few hundred feet. Feeling hopeless and helpless, the lowlander men decided that the cause was lost and they prepared to return to their village below. As they were packing their gear for the descent, they saw the baby's mother walking toward them. She was coming down the mountain they hadn't figured out how to climb. They saw that she had the baby strapped to her back. How could that be? One man greeted her and said, "We couldn't climb this mountain. How did you do it when we, the strongest and most able men in the village, couldn't do it?" She looked intently at them and said, "It wasn't your baby." The power of your why is what gets you to stick through the grueling, mundane, and laborious. All of the hows will be meaningless until your whys are powerful enough. Until you've set your desire and motivation in place, you'll abandon any new path you seek to better your life. If your why power, your desire, isn't great enough, the fortitude of your commitment won't be powerful enough. And you'll end up like every other person who makes a New Year's resolution and gives up too quickly, reverting to living a life of ho-hum and mediocrity. Not you, not anymore, right? The person who has a clear, compelling, and white-hot burning reason why will always defeat even the best of the best at doing the how. We see this reality played out repeatedly. It's where greatness and extraordinary achievement comes from. So it's time we unlock that deep-seated passion and embolden you with the indomitable power and fortitude of your why power. This program will give you the keys to unlock it. Have you ever wondered how this all really works anyway? It can seem sort of voodoo-like from a distance, explained only by the genie in a bottle type of scenario. Well, if you've had that thought before, and I know that you have, let me explain how goal setting actually works. The mystery secret revealed. You only see, experience, and get what you look for. If you don't know what you're looking for, you certainly won't get it. By our very nature, we are goal-seeking creatures. Your brain is always trying to align your outer world with what you are seeing and experiencing in your inner world. When you instruct your brain to look for things that you want, you will begin to see them. In fact, the object of your desire has probably already always existed all around you, but your mind and eyes weren't open to it. This is actually how the law of attraction really works. It's not some mysterious, esoteric voodoo as it sometimes sounds like as it's being described. It's far simpler and more practical than that. We are surrounded with billions of sensory, visual, audio, physical inputs of information each day. To keep ourselves from going insane, we ignore 99.9% of them. You only really see, hear, or experience those which you focus your mind on. Does that make sense? It's not mysterious at all. It's actually quite logical. Now, whatever your mind is thinking on the inside is what it will pay attention to in the space of the 99.9% of everything else. And then all of a sudden, you see it. It looks like you attracted it, but it was already there all along. Did you ever start car shopping and then you started to see the model and make of that car everywhere? It seems like there are tons of them on the streets all of a sudden. More likely, they have been there all along, but you weren't paying attention to them, thus, they didn't really, quote-unquote, exist to you before. So, when you define your goals, you give your brain something to focus on and to look for. You give your mind a new set of eyes to see all the people, circumstances, conversations, resources, ideas, creativity, and otherwise, so it can go about matching up on the outside with what you want on the inside, your goal. It's that simple, but the difference in how you see, experience, and draw ideas, people, and experiences into your life after you have clearly defined your goals is profound. Having goals gives you vision. Legend has it that there was a block of marble back in the 1400s that was cast aside, seen as flawed, being deemed too long and narrow to be useful for sculpture. It lay there useless for 40 years until 1501 when looked upon by a 20-something young man by the name of Michelangelo. Inside this formless mass of marble, the young Michelangelo saw the heroic beauty, grace, and wonder of a man who would become known as David. Michelangelo famously said, "I already saw David inside. I only had to release him by chipping away at the marble that trapped him in." Pre-sketched goals can give you that kind of vision. Additionally, goals give you direction. Having a goal fixed on the horizon gives you something to navigate towards. Here's an example. 3 boys out hiking came to an open field. They decided to have a contest to see who could walk the straightest line. The first 2 boys studied each step, carefully putting one foot in front of the other. When they looked up, they could see that they had zigzagged or arched off in one direction or the other. The 3rd boy walked a perfectly straight line and did it with much more speed. How did he do it? He kept his eyes focused on a single tree in the distance and simply walked directly toward it. While most people may be paying attention to what they are doing step for step or where they are going day to day, it is only when you have goals set out on the horizon that you can directly and expeditiously advance your life in that direction. Now, maybe you've set goals for yourself before and they didn't work, or maybe you didn't work. Either way, without knowing your specific goals, I still can tell you there are 5 big reasons why most goal-setting attempts fail. Here's reason number 1. Your goal list is just a wish list, and you're crossing your fingers. As I wrote about in the feature article in our January 2010 Success issue, you cannot simply write down a list of wants on New Year's Day, stick it in a drawer for the rest of the year, and wait around for your life to change. Number 2 reason why goals fail. Your goals are as clear as mud. Your goals have to be crystal clear. You have to give clear instructions to your brain in order for it to see and draw into your sights what you need to accomplish your goals. Just like the combination in a lock or the digits in a phone number or an ATM code, if it's off by only 1 digit, it won't work. Number 3, your goals are all talk. Proclaiming your goal is just the starting point. Now you actually have to draw a map of exactly how you're going to get there and define the resources you'll need to arrive safely. Number 4 reason why your goals fail, you have no Houston. Houston? I think we've got a problem. The management, command, and control system necessary to operate your plan, keep you on track, keep you measured and monitored through the journey and through the unknown. And the 5th reason why most goal setting fails is you lack reinforcements, the support and guidance of people and resources that you'll need all along the way. You can read more about this in the January 2010 issue of Success Magazine, Why Goal Setting Doesn't Work. And it can also be found on my blog at darrenhardy.success.com. In this program, I will guide you through all the potential pitfalls to ensure that you have the precise formula for achieving the boldest goals and wildest ambitions you can dream up. So take a moment right now and look in the mirror and say goodbye to your old self. Life will never be the same starting today. Alert your tailor, your CPA, your banker, your spouse and your kids. Oh, and if you have one, maybe your therapist. And if you want to add a little drama, you can do it Reggie Hammond style, as played by Eddie Murphy in the movie 48 Hours when he declared, "I want the rest of you cowboys to know something. There's a new sheriff in town, and his name is Reggie Hammond. Y'all be cool. Right on." Okay, I want to warn you though, if you're gonna take this journey with me, you need to be serious. Serious about significantly changing the trajectory of your life. Serious about wanting to access your great, but mostly dormant potential and set it free. Serious about committing to examination, challenging old thought and behavior patterns and declaring new ones. Establish new behaviors, build new skills, and take bold, new actions to realize your great goals. Are you up for the challenge? If you're serious and ready to commit to the process, I promise you it will be one of the most important decisions you will ever make for your life's success. I can personally testify to this. Make your commitment now by signing the commitment pledge enclosed in the book. Hey, commitment's like pregnancy. You're either all in or not at all.